Genesis 14 is one of the most unique and action-packed chapters in the entire Pentateuch. It reads like a military chronicle from the ancient world. 4 powerful kings from the east launch a massive invasion against 5 local kings in the Valley of Siddim. This isn't just a story about a local skirmish. This is the first record of global-scale warfare in the Bible. It sets the stage for a rescue mission that reveals the character of Abraham. In the chaos of this war, Lot, the nephew of Abraham, is captured. He's taken as a prisoner of war, along with all his possessions. When the news reaches Abraham, he doesn't hesitate. He doesn't say that Lot got what he deserved for choosing the fertile plains of Sodom. Instead, Abraham assembles 318 trained men born in his own household. This detail is crucial for our historical context. It shows us that Abraham was not just a wandering nomad. He was a wealthy and influential patriarch with a private security force. Abraham pursues the 4 kings all the way to Dan. He uses a brilliant nighttime strategy to defeat a much larger coalition of professional armies. He recovers everything, brings back the goods, the people, and his nephew Lot. It is a stunning victory that establishes Abraham as a regional power. But the most significant part of Genesis 14 isn't the battle. It's what happens on the way back from the victory. 2 kings come out to meet Abraham in the Valley of Siddim. One is the king of Sodom, representing the allure of the world. The other is Melchizedek, the king of Salem. This is one of the most mysterious and profound figures in all of Scripture. His name in Hebrew means King of Righteousness. He's also the king of Salem, which means King of Peace. Melchizedek is unique because he is both a king and a priest of God Most High. This dual role was unheard of in later Israelite law. The original language, he is called a priest of El Elyon. This title emphasizes God's supreme sovereignty over all the nations of the earth. Melchizedek brings out bread and wine. He blesses Abraham, saying, "Blessed be Abram by God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth." Pause for a second. How does this encounter change your view of who is really in control of history? Comment below, I read every one. Abraham responds to this blessing by doing something radical. He gives Melchizedek a tenth of everything he had recovered in the war. This is the first mention of a tithe in the Bible. It is a voluntary act of worship that acknowledges God as the source of victory. Then we see the contrast. The king of Sodom offers Abraham the spoils of war. He tells Abraham to keep the goods and just return the people. Abraham refuses. He has just sworn an oath to the Lord, the possessor of heaven and earth, that he will take nothing from Sodom. He doesn't want anyone to say that the king of Sodom made Abraham rich. He relies solely on the provision and promise of God. This interaction reveals Abraham's spiritual maturity. He recognizes the difference between a blessing from God and a bribe from the world. But we must look at the literary and theological context. Why is Melchizedek here? He appears out of nowhere and disappears just as fast. The author of Hebrews in the New Testament picks up this thread centuries later. He explains that Melchizedek is a type of Christ. Okay, type is a historical person or event that foreshadows a greater spiritual reality. Melchizedek points us directly to Jesus. Like Melchizedek, Jesus is a king of righteousness and a king of peace. Like Melchizedek, Jesus is both king and high priest. The book of Hebrews argues that Jesus belongs to the order of Melchizedek, which is superior to the later Levitical priesthood. Think about the bread and wine Melchizedek offered. Thousands of years later, Jesus would offer bread and wine to his disciples. He would call it the new covenant in his blood. The shadows of Genesis 14 become the substance of the gospel in the New Testament. Abraham recognized that his victory wasn't his own. He honored the priest king because he honored the God who the king represented. When we read Genesis 14, we shouldn't just see an ancient war. We should see the King of Kings who wins the ultimate victory for us. Just as Abraham rescued Lot from captivity, Jesus rescues us from the captivity of sin and the powers of this world. He doesn't do it for a reward or for the spoils of the world. He does it to bring us into his peace. Do you find yourself tempted by the king of Sodom in your life? Are you looking for success from the world rather than blessing from God? Let the example of Abraham guide you. Recognize that every victory and every breath comes from El Elyon, the Most High God. Seek the blessing of the true King of Peace. Trust in the one who is our eternal high priest interceding for us at the right hand of the Father. This chapter reminds us that history is not a series of random accidents. It is a divine narrative directed by the possessor of heaven and earth.